Anthony Fantano is cringe, and he is a perfect example of why business and politics don't mix. Kanye West recently released an album called Vultures, which is ironic because
Anthony Fantano
used this album as a launching pad to go straight for Kanye's neck, going as far as disrespecting his new wife Bianca and calling her the Dollar General, Kim K.
Now, to be clear, I'm a fan of most of his content, and that's actually why I'm making this video, because I feel like this is a slippery slope. I think his cause would have been better received if he just gave the album a score and reviewed it top to bottom, instead of letting his emotions get the best of him, because now he just gave folks a ton of reasons to defend this album, and not to mention the stench of blatant hypocrisy coming from his argument. It's very similar to telling teenagers that drugs are bad, so now he just looks like some old guy who is extremely offended by an album, which is interesting if you consider the fact that his entire career has been him reviewing albums, and now he's seemingly cosplaying as this intrepid political philosopher sent here from the land of capitalism to cancel Kanye West and warn us about the dangers of Hitler, a tone-deaf music critic, virtue signaling his way to becoming yet another YouTuber turned political pundit.
At least he's honest.
I can understand when he points out that it's hard to separate the art from the artist, because Kanye has injected the topic into the lyrics. So yeah, that makes sense. The point that I'm making is that this is nothing new. His fans already know that Kanye is a madman who says horrible things. So I ask, who was this video even for? And where do we draw the line? Is it with Kanye, or is it with King Von, or how about NBA Youngboy? This is the literal definition of the slippery slope fallacy.
And that's basically the argument. For those who dislike the unreviewable video from
Anthony Fantano,
mind you, many of whom came there for a music review, not a political analysis.
Now, I don't give a shit if he burned down some churches. I don't care if he murdered a guy. I really don't care if he's racist. If he comes out with an album in the future that I find interesting, I will welcome it with open arms.
This is completely unreviewable trash, and here's why. Question: what is even the purpose of a music review in the first place? I can say, at least in terms of my own intent, that when I do a music review, I hope to achieve a couple of things. One, give the viewer pause and cause them to think about why it is they do or don't like the piece of music or art that I'm doing an overview of. Or two, excite people to give the music that I'm talking about a try. Those are the two things I want to do. Problem: neither of those goals are possible in any scenario that involves reviewing this album. Newsflash: since 2022, Kanye has made it his mission to go full-on anti-Semite, spouting insane conspiracy theories, talking about how he loves Hitler, and at some point I think he realized how much he fucked up with all of that, so now he has to own this total dumpster fire he's created and boast about how people think he's anti-Semitic now, because yeah, they do. Even if he does genuinely apologize and change his behavior past this point, his public image is forever altered by all of this.
Okay, so now that we're all caught up, I want to show you some clips from the opposing side, along with clips from the unreviewable video, and I encourage you to please think for yourself and draw your own conclusions. Do you think that art should be separated from the artist? And do you even think it's possible?
Could possibly do that at this point. Especially his wife, who he has now replaced with somebody who he just like kind of parades around like she's a naked body with no personality, opinion, or voice. Something that on some level I think he's weirdly proud of, as on the very lyrics to this record, he calls her just a reference, which is maybe one of the grossest and most dehumanizing things Kanye has said about a woman.
It's like fighting fire with fire. You need to be careful not to become the thing you hate.
It has been on as of late, has left him with an interesting mix of fans. One, hateful psychos that actually agree with some of the stuff that he's been saying, and are actually in my Twitter mentions theorizing that I'm a Jew, and that's the reason I don't really like his recent music. Two, anonymous nihilistic teenagers that don't really think anything he says or does has any greater consequence in the world, and are most likely bored and lonely and will just defend Kanye because watching him unravel is more entertaining than most things, and I guess brings some kind of meaning to their otherwise meaningless lives. And three, cultish weirdos who parasocially obsess over him and everything he does, and would basically follow him to the ends of the earth. Keep in mind, these individuals have always been in his
Can you see the problem with generalizing folks into three groups?
Hip-hop heads. Now, these three types of people, and there is overlap between them in Kanye's fan base, don't want to hear anything critical about him at all. Kanye's downward spiral into Nazi-adjacent rhetoric and now imagery in the promotion of this record. The point is, there's no hope of having any level-headed conversation with somebody who is like deep into the Kanye fandom at this point. People who literally think anything and everything he does is great and will write off any bit of dissent as just being biased and unfair to him, as if he's Jesus Christ and can do no wrong. So yeah, there's no convincing them, which I will say is also the case for people who have left the Kanye reservation over the past several years, because there are a fair share of people who are validly pissed off about everything Kanye's been saying and doing recently and feel like it's totally beyond the pale. And even if this record was somehow good, what am I supposed to do? Tell the Jews in my audience, "Aw, come on, man, he didn't mean it. It's not so bad. He's just a little crazy, that's all."
Chat. When were these efforts, chat? When he was reviewing the fucking albums and the fucking things people were saying to rappers that killed people, dude. What do you think about the families that had fucking dead people in it, right? When their guy says, "Yo, we fucking blasted that fool in the fucking head one tap with the Draco, man. Pull up in that bitch, one tap that bitch ass in the fucking head." Where was that? How do you think their families feel like about him saying, "Guys, don't worry, guys, it's just a one kill, guys. Guys, it's just straight bullet, it's just a one tap. My bad, guys. It's just war. It is what it is, shit happens, and war, dude. You get one tapped. Like, what? This argument is so fucking... Guys, because if you're gonna do it one way, you gotta do it both ways. If you're gonna stand tall, you stand tall across the board. You don't fucking say, "Oh, this album though. Oh, guys, this guy's liked by the public. He's a review. Oh, but this guy though, no, guys, we must stand against it." Shut up. Boom!
Especially since he's not doing anything to gain forgiveness. He is very apparently not sorry for anything he's been saying or doing. And the apologies he has given aren't worth a lick of shit, because he'll think nothing of saying Jesus Christ, Hitler, yay, sponsor that, not too long after. Now, there are some people who will say, "Anthony, you're being unfair here. Separate the art from the artist. Come on now. You can't separate this crap from the music because it's in the music. Look at the lyrics. Read these words. They have meaning and they are saying things that are not good or normal. You would have to expect me to separate my brain from my skull if you think I'm just going to ignore it." I think this comment here pretty much sums things up. We don't care as long as the album is good. His personality and what he says doesn't matter to me. I only care about the music. How do you penetrate this level of self-imposed ignorance? This person is not listening to Kanye. He's not listening to anything I or anyone has to say about Kanye. And this comment was posted after the album was released, so he's apparently not even listening to the content of the music that he supposedly cares so much about. So this argument about, "I only care about the music," can't possibly be true, especially since the music too is shit. The song Paid is one of the most unintentionally hilarious tracks I think Kanye has ever put out. It's just a crappier version of Fade. Why wouldn't you just listen to Fade? You'd have to be delusional to think anything else, especially with this trash-ass verse from Ye.
In that song's defense, it does have some pretty musical passages on it. Then we get, "My niggas putting belt to ass, pull up with the switches." The same Jimmy Butler, but the heat got extensions.
And before all the Fantano sheeps come from under the rocks with their hexagon glasses attacking me, saying, "Are you really criticizing someone else's opinion? It's just his opinion, bro." And this is mine. He had his opinion. He's been yapping about Kanye for the last 2 months, bitching and moaning. Actually, not 2 months, for the last year and a half. Now it's my turn to yap and share my opinion on his opinion of Kanye's opinion. This is the internet in 2024. Anthony Fantano, the needle drop. You love him, you hate him. I personally enjoyed his content. I've been watching him for a few years. I don't agree with him most of the time. I'm not an Anthony Fantano hater. In the recent months, I've definitely stopped watching him. Now his music reviews, not only music reviews and his political take. And it's like, yes, I know he's very into politics. I know that on Twitter, that's all he does because he's single. His wife left him and he's extremely terminally online. And that's all he does, just spend his time on Twitter debating 14-year-olds. And I need to remind you guys, Anthony Fantano is a 40-year-old man beefing with 13-year-olds. Which when you think about it, it's kind of sad. This guy's almost my mom's age, and if my mom was arguing with 15-year-olds on Twitter about why Kanye is a Nazi, I would have to sit my mom down and be like, "Mom, we gotta talk. We gotta get you off Twitter." So as many of you guys know, Kanye dropped his new album, Vultures. I like it. Do I think it's his best? No. Do I think it's album of the year? No. It's good, but I've seen people say that it's the greatest album and it's the best album since Jesus or The Life of Pablo, and I'm like, are we listening to the same music? Vultures is not better than Donda. But what's happened over the last 24 hours with Fantano is something that needs to be studied, and even his own fans are starting to turn on him.
And this brings us back to what I said in the beginning of the video: business and politics don't mix.
Kanye's worst album. And given that the sequel tends to be a step down from the original, in Kanye's case most of the time, the rest of the Vultures series from this point is not looking good. But yeah, that's all I have to say. Thank you. Bye.
If the purpose of art is to make you feel something, then it's safe to say that Vultures was successful, but successful at what cost? Spreading hate for record sales doesn't strike me as genius. I wish all creators would shut up about their political beliefs, but protesting art can't be the answer. We can't go around burning books because we didn't like the words. If everyone fought fire with fire, the whole world would be smoke. So again I ask, where do we draw the line? And do you even think that it's possible to separate the art from the artist and the artist from their beliefs? But let me know what you think in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. This has been Alan for now.